As a freelancer, it can be so difficult saying no to jobs, especially early in your career where saying yes has so many benefits. Making connections, learning new skills, and of course, getting paid. But at some point, you start to realize that saying yes is costing you in really subtle ways, because you get stretched thin, get pulled away from what you actually want to specialize in, and it can even cost you money. So, when do you say no? And when or why would you consider turning down a job? For years, I said yes to almost everything, whether it was design, illustration, or video work. But over the course of several years in different career paths, I realized that saying yes all the time was keeping me from leveling up in the career that I actually wanted to pursue. But recently, I took on a job that I would normally decline, and it got me thinking about how I got to this point, the rules that I use, and when it's okay to break them. And the one thing that really helped me was setting boundaries that make it easier to say no without overthinking. In the past, I was happy to trade my time for new pieces of equipment, plugins, or experiences, but this also often left me drained and further from where I started in some sense. So I began to assess different job opportunities, create boundaries and heuristics for myself to determine whether something was worth taking on or not. I either use a mental model or even sometimes you could say a physical document that outlines the different rates and conditions that I'm willing to work under. Things like an hourly wage, what kind of gear is included, how many revisions, and the type of work that I simply don't want to do. It's through these boundaries that we can start to build in the right direction, creating consistency in our work through systems that translate to better results for clients and also a better lifestyle for ourselves as we don't have to reinvent the wheel each time we get a new gig. But of course, freelancing isn't always that simple, and there are slow months or pinch-hitting jobs that become really hard to say no to. Which brings me to the point of this video. I recently broke one of my own rules and wanted to reflect on why I did so and see if there's any lessons to be learned from all of this. The project was a lyric video for an indie idol group here in Tokyo that I got through music industry connections, but not with people I directly worked with in the past. What they wanted was something that was solely motion graphics based with a 3-day turnaround, and there's kind of a lot of red flags there to start with since I'm not an expert with motion graphics. This is normally the type of thing that I would just turn down thanks to my heuristics in a heartbeat, but really the key here was that it came at a time between two longer term projects where I had nothing lined up, so I decided to take on the job and say yes, and the results are kind of mixed. While on paper, the pay was more than I would typically make in 3 days' time, it was more about the quality of those days that isn't always clear before we get started working. Thanks to years of streamlining different systems and workflows, everything has become very second nature in my typical day-to-day work, which means while my day rate might be less than what I made in this case study job, because of the efficiency I've been able to build, it takes less time and effort. New clients also mean communication was more time consuming, and it turned out that 3 days was actually more like 2, with the final product needing to be delivered by the early morning of the 3rd day. So the nature of the project and my lack of expert knowledge in motion graphics meant I had to work extra hours and kind of brute force different solutions instead of really gaining any new skills, leveling up as I work. Not that motion graphics is particularly something I'm interested in pursuing further, which does mean that the overall experience or the final product isn't something that's going to be valuable to me personally going forward as, say, a portfolio piece or something to show to clients. See, normally when you do something, you hope that you get not only paid for your time and expertise, but that you can also take something away from it, learn and improve, and put back kind of the investment that you made into your work and process. But in this case, it felt kind of zero sum as the work I was putting in was being returned solely monetarily. And in this way, I feel like the key to unlocking the next level of productivity when it comes to freelancing involves developing systems where work is more streamlined and efficient, which allows us to put more energy into the details rather than simply doing the work itself. This compounds and allows us to reach higher levels of creative work. While my typical day-to-day work on the surface may pay less over the same period of time, it also takes a lot less toll on me, and I tend to produce better results. years of developing a workflow also means less miscommunication and less ad hoc thinking, which can be especially problematic when it comes to freelance work like video production or design, where clients can often ask for more than was originally planned or budgeted for. While it's tempting to say yes, it's important to protect your core focus rather than spreading yourself too thin. If we take on every opportunity, it may lead to more short-term income, but at the cost of long-term growth, specialization, and efficiency as we bounce around between odd jobs that can never stack up in the long run. In this case, I've found that having a network of collaborators and colleagues that you can refer to when a job comes up to be a great resource so that I could stay on my preferred path. It's a lot easier to say no if you can back it up with a reference to a talented friend in the right field. And while at first it might kind of feel like you're losing out on some money, referring a friend can definitely bring work back around your way when they have something in a similar position. And another option would be to set your rate so high that most clients would just say no because they can't afford it. But in the rare case where a client is willing to pay, now you can afford to bring on someone to work with you, making for a real win-win situation. If you're still unsure, it might mean you need a larger sample size to make a clear decision, or you might need more time to weigh different options. It's always a good idea to say that you need to check your schedule and then take some time to weigh different options removed from the direct conversation. But at the end of the day, I think we all have to begin to understand that saying no is a very respectable thing. It shows professionalism over short-term thinking and, in turn, helps your brand as a freelancer, your reputation, and relationship with potential clients, which can often be more valuable than a one-time paycheck. Anyways, I hope you found the video to be interesting and informative. Definitely let me know if you found this case study type video to be a good fit for the channel, something that you're interested in watching more in the future. And as always, thank you so much for watching.